Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. My name is Christina. This is the extended for the Sagittarius reading that's already been posted. So if you haven't watched that, then go watch that first and come back here. So for this part of the reading, Sagittarius, we're going to be asking, how can you shift your focus and where's an area of growth? So we're starting with how can you shift your focus? And you have here a very interesting combination of cards. The balance card, confidence, and anxiety, which is interesting because, well, I want to start with the balance card because I feel like there's a part here. This one has actually been shifting a little bit for me as well, where it's actually like part of your inner balance perhaps is actually being knocked a little bit with this, because normally I see this as being like something clicking into place, which can still be true for you. Like there is something that is clicking into place. I feel like you're not seeing it yet, but it will become clear. But it does require you to almost like throw yourself a bit off balance, right? By taking this sort of new opportunity or taking a step in a different direction, perhaps, than where it is that you've been focused on for a long time. Because it is an alternative route, right? It's an alternative route that seems perhaps counterintuitive, or it's like in order to make this change, it will require you to turn or shift focus perhaps a little bit. But it's coming out with the confidence and anxiety, which is interesting because these two are kind of like two sides of a coin, right? Anxiety stems from worrying about the future, right? It's like if you're thinking too far ahead and sort of worrying about what it is that you're going to encounter or how it is you're going to deal with a certain situation, that's where sort of anxiety sets in. And it is sort of a solar plexus energy because worrying about the future, worrying about sort of what you're going to be doing in certain situations, because how anxiety often plays to me is like I run through a whole bunch of different potential outcomes, or like, what am I going to do if this happens? What am I going to do if that happens? It's a whole bunch of like what if situations in an attempt to prepare myself for what I may encounter or may not encounter, right? It's like, what do I do if that does not happen? And trying to sort of map out different possibilities. That's how usually I experience anxiety, which can be helpful in certain situations. Like you want to be prepared, you want to sort of have a backup plan, perhaps, that kind of thing. But with the confidence here that's coming out is to emphasize that all of that sort of extra planning usually is overkill, in that whatever happens, it's never going to happen in the way that you expect it to happen, is kind of what this is talking about. So all of that sort of thinking and planning and like, what if that happens? What if this happens? Is actually not beneficial, because the way that something happens is almost never going to be the way that you expect it to happen, basically. So the only sort of thing that you can do in this situation is just to have confidence. But I feel like you already have that, Sagittarius. That's the thing, is because you have this sort of trust in yourself and the strength. That's your current energy, which is what I'm seeing as the confidence, right? It's like if you have faith and trust in your ability to navigate any sort of uncertain or new things, you'll be able to do it, basically. Okay, and this anxiety card is also interesting because you have here compassion and connection. Compassionate connection is kind of what this is talking about. I feel like the reason why you are being pulled in this new direction is because there is somebody on the other end of this with this connection card that's pulling you. It could be a very significant connection for you on the other side of it, because it's like you're moving towards your goal, period, Sagittarius. You are going to get there, absolutely. However, the way in which you're going about it right now is causing some sort of traffic jam or delay And so you're having to move in a different direction. So there's two reasons why that is. It's like the direction that you're going in is perhaps too conventional, or is for some reason, because a lot of other people are going in that direction. It's this, right? It's like a lot of other people are going in this direction, and so the pathway is clogged up, right? So it's like you can't, well, you can stay here if you want to, but there is sort of a risk of like running out of gas, right? Because you're sort of in an environment where there's a lot of frustration or a lot of sort of negative energy that will, or may, I should say, may impact you if you stay in this situation for a really long time. And so you are being asked to sort of move in a different direction because it will get you to your goal faster, but also because I feel like there is a significant connection here that is wanting to be experienced by you, right? So this anxiety card is actually now bringing in this interesting story of like, before I met a very significant person in my life, before I met him, I actually had this experience. It was like I met him in March of like 2019. Yeah, 2019. But the August before that, so the summer before I met him, I started having these strange heart palpitations, right? Like it just like, I'd never had any sort of heart problem before, but I started getting these like, where my heart would skip a beat, or I would feel my heart stop or pause, and then it would sort of restart again, which was the strangest phenomena ever. It freaked me out. I went to the doctor to try and figure out what was going on, but of course, like, the doctor said there was nothing wrong, and of course, like, when I was at the doctor, my heart was not actually doing that thing, so it's like she couldn't even hear what it was that I was feeling, but all of this anxiety, right? It was kind of like, I had no reason to be anxious because I was moving into sort of the new career, a new path, that kind of thing. It was pulling me forward, but all of this like anxiety that absolutely did not belong to me. Now that I'm looking back on it, I realized that it didn't belong to me. It was going on for like maybe like a couple of months, leading up to me meeting this significant soul connection. And there was just one day when I was talking to my sister. She was in med school, so I was asking her like, what could this be? And she was like, what? Well, it just seems like you're not anxious about anything, so just like let it go. Like, why are you anxious? And that sort of just triggered, or not triggered, it allowed me to release that energy, because I just suddenly thought one day, this anxiety is not mine. It doesn't belong to me. And I just let it go, and the heart palpitations stopped and they never came back. But what that was telling me, now that I'm looking back on that experience, is that there was this pull, because I was about to move into a new career or job that would bring me into contact with this significant connection of mine. And I feel like that's what's happening for you, Sagittarius. It's like, if you are experiencing any sort of anxiety, it could be this sort of like, I'm calling this like quantum pulling, right? Where there's like energies or ties that are pulling you and another person perhaps together for whatever reason to sort of work through karma, or because it's a significant soul connection that you are supposed to meet, and you're being asked to sort of go in this direction, go in a different direction with this Ace of Materials, go in a different direction in order to meet this person who will perhaps have something for you that will unlock the other thing that you're working on, right? It's like you have a goal in mind, but you've reached some sort of pause where you can't move forward because you're supposed to meet this other one, is kind of how it's feeling. And so the compassion card coming out is like, in sort of these connections where you have sort of like this like interdimensional kind of link between the two of you is that you may not be aware of it, or they may not be aware of it, where there is sort of this mutual pulling and mutual sort of experiencing or preparing for the actual meeting before it happens. And so the compassion card is just here to remind you that you may be feeling energies that don't belong to you with this anxiety card. You may be feeling sort of things that they are going through, because it's always going to be sort of a reciprocal thing. They have something for you and you have something for them. There is sort of a mutual reciprocal kind of dynamic that's happening here. And that compassion is important because I feel like there's something here for you to learn, right? Like, it's a compassionate connection. It's a connection that is filled with compassion, which is such a complex energy, right? It's like, even if there's anxiety or triggers or whatever it is that's being brought up in this connection, that is what's wanting to be released. And then you can sort of move into this sort of compassion energy. But it's here. It's so interesting. Here you have this card, the Maktub, which talks to me about like a cosmic remote control of being sort of at this significant choice point, and you're about to go down a certain path, and what's on the other end of it is this reciprocity card, which to me talks about like service. There's something that this one who you're about to meet, or you've already started to have perhaps the physical sensation, or not even, it doesn't have to be physical. It could just be like a spiritual sensation. It's this faith card, right? You've gotten already sort of the intuitive nudges or a spiritual kind of pulling that is drawing you towards this one. And it's just asking you to sort of surrender to that, basically. But this cosmic remote control today was actually coming through as like a cosmic detour. It's a detour because the way that you're going right now, the energy's not flowing. So you have to move in a different way. There's like the path that you're on has like significant construction delays is kind of how it's feeling like. So you have to move in another direction because staying in traffic is not good for you. It's not good for me anyway. I get so angry when I'm stuck in traffic. Like the road rage comes out. It brings out sort of the worst in me. It makes me miserable. And so why go through that? You can just go a different way, basically. You're still moving towards your goal, Sagittarius. Okay. And then here you have the Chariot, which I don't like. This card has come out so much that, like, you know, when you say a word over and over and over again, it starts to lose its meaning. That's what's happening for me with this Chariot, because I feel like I explained this so many times, and now I've just been saying this so much that it's starting to lose its meaning. But we also have the Hanged Muse, another card that has been coming out so much. But today it's like I feel like this is sort of the dynamic between you and this significant connection. I feel like there's so much to be sort of revealed in this. Well, what's interesting is that the positions are so different, right? It's like I feel like you, Sagittarius, are this Chariot where it's like you have a very strong focus and a desire and a momentum to move in a certain direction, but because it's coming through with this like traffic jam energy, it's not moving forward. And so your attention is now being put on this one. And for them, I feel like for them, what is it that they are? Because this card has been so interesting, coming out with the ecstasy card from the other deck. That card didn't come out today, so it's kind of like perhaps they have one piece of the puzzle, or they have like one, like, because I think of this as being like a waveform, right? This is sort of the peak of the waveform, but they're missing sort of the other aspect, and perhaps that's something that you can show them, Sagittarius. I'm not sure. I feel like that will unfold over time. But I do feel that as well, that you because you have here the Four of Voices, which talks to me about like a very sort of non-resistant state, or like pulling in information while you're meditating. Today it was coming through as being like, I feel like you, Sagittarius, because yesterday I was watching Ancient Apocalypse, this docu-series on Netflix, and something about that docu-series that I like, it was talking about the connection between earth and sky, and I feel like for you, Sagittarius, there's something here about like I feel like you perhaps have the ability to see or send your intention. It's kind of like you're the astronomer and they're the builder, and together you're going to build like some sort of structure that will unlock mysteries between the earth and the sky. I have no idea. Okay, but the reason why I'm saying that this one's you is because of this intention energy, right? There's something about your strength or your vision or your ability to focus perhaps, or all of this sort of momentum that you have that's going to unlock or reveal something. Because I just noticed here this door, right? It's like there's something significant here that is wanting to be unlocked. And then amazingly you have, as I was just saying, the connection between earth and sky. You have here the Muse of Voices, which is the sky, and then the Muse of Materials, which is earth. So it could be, for you, Sagittarius, some sort of coming together with somebody, a significant connection where the two of you are going to build something that connects perhaps two aspects that don't have a clear link, because it's something that I was thinking about in that docu-series, the connection between earth and sky, of how the ancient cultures built structures or monuments in order to align sky phenomena like the solstice with physical structure, and the importance of that connection of like there is some sort of sacred meaning. The Faith card, there's some sort of sacred meaning or truth that perhaps has been lost in sort of the collective. Like it feels like whatever it is that you are building together is some sort of sacred, like returning this sacred sort of faith, trust aspect that will align or unlock mysteries. Perhaps. I have no idea. Okay, Sagittarius, we're moving into where's an area of growth for you. So you have 3 interesting cards, which are really sort of lovely today. You have the Rest card, Success, and then Flow, which is really, really important, because I feel like for you, Sagittarius, there is sort of this energy in your reading so far, sort of like, I feel like you've been doing a lot or like focusing a lot on whatever goal you were working on or working towards, right? It's all of this sort of like burden, that kind of thing, like doing a lot of things perhaps. But this Rest card is sort of here to reassure you that you are allowed to sort of take a break, right? It's like if you've been working towards something that has been just draining your energy or just taking a lot of focus or intention, that kind of thing, because there may be some sort of like worry or anxiety that if you don't put energy towards it, it's going to fall away or something like that. Like you're like that there won't be sort of success, or you won't be able to move forward if you sort of take your eyes off of this goal. But this energy here is trying to reassure you that you can take a rest. You can sort of go in a different direction temporarily, or like the detour, right? It's like taking a divine detour to find some measure of success in some other area or aspect, right? It's like there is sort of this natural momentum or flow that is pulling you in this direction. And it always, whenever I see this flow card, I always just think of surrender, because it's so much easier to just surrender to the energy that is pulling you in a certain direction than fighting against the current, right? It's like, don't fight against the current. This actually is going to feel very, I want to say, like a natural progression or a natural movement, or it's just like that experience that I had when you do move in a different direction, it moves much faster, right? It's like there's no blockages in this way, like going this way. There's no sort of delays, like everything just moves smoothly. And I feel like that's the experience that you're going to have, but only if you surrender to that possibility that there will be sort of ease, if you allow the ease to happen, because there is sort of this energy here in the cards today that are implying that perhaps, Sagittarius, you are resistant to this new thing, but it's going to be successful, right? It's like it's coming through with a lot of success energy, especially because you have here the Six of Inspiration and the Success card, which both are the same energy. It's like you are moving in this direction, or if you move in this direction, because you always have a choice, Sagittarius. You have this choice to sort of remain in this traffic jam energy, because I feel like, I'm not sure if this is true, but I feel like that if you do stay there, there may be sort of a drain on your resources, is kind of how it's feeling. Because for me, just in that example, of my driving experience, that I had enough gas to get to my location, if there was no traffic jam, right? Like I wasn't worried about running out of gas, but I felt that if I stayed in the traffic jam, because I wasn't sure how long it would take, how long I would actually be stuck there, there was a risk of me running out of gas while in that situation. And so there's this sort of energy of like, you can stay in that energy if you want to. If you want to sort of stay in that, like in the rock and the hard place energy, you can. However, there may be sort of a risk of running out of resources while you're in there, just because there's so much resistance, right? So it's like move in a different direction just to sort of get perhaps a replenishment with this rest card, because you may sort of have been in that situation for a while where it's just kind of like you are running low on some sort of resource, perhaps just your energy levels or something like that, where it's like you have enough to get through it, but if you stay there, you may deplete yourself, kind of energy. And so it's kind of just asking you to move in a different direction for a little, just to get your resources back up to full, is kind of how it's talking about. With this energy here, well, because I'm going to keep going through the tarot because it explains a little bit more of that, where there's this Two of Voices, right? Which always to me talks about like the indecision, or just like being pulled in sort of two different directions. But the reason why that's happening is sort of confusion or opposing views that you may have that are challenging your movement forward. And it feels kind of something like this with the Four of Materials, right? Sort of holding back on some ability for you to give, I want to say. Because this energy to me talks about like fear of losing something of yours, right? Like holding onto something because you don't want to lose it, or because there's perhaps not a lot of it, or something like that. And so perhaps that's what's holding you back. But it's coming out with this card, the Seven of Voices, which has been coming out a lot as well, which talks about fear and illusion of like, if you step down this path, there's something scary about it, right? There's something that is preventing you from moving forward, because it's coming through with all of this, like this illusion energy, right? Whatever that is. But what's on the other side of it is the Ten of Emotions, which is so incredible, because this is what you and this other person or other connection or opportunity, if it's an opportunity, is promising, or that's what the potential is if you do go down this path, is that there's this potential for 10 of emotions, which talks about emotional fulfillment, right? It's like filling your cup up again, because I feel like there's been a situation you've been in, Sagittarius, that has put you in a block, right? It's like you're stuck in traffic. There's nothing, it's just moving slowly. And so, in order for you not to run out of gas, Sagittarius, this opportunity is coming in for you to sort of fill your cup back up again, because whatever situation you've been in has not perhaps progressed in a way that you expected it to. And then here you have the rebirth card, which is absolutely necessary, because it is a rebirth, right? It's a new sort of direction that you're going in. What's interesting about this card is I talk about it as being like, here's a vision that you received from spirit, or from whatever, your meditation, your dream state, however it is that you receive guidance and clarity. And there's this thing here in your physical, this new opportunity or something that absolutely has a draw, right? It's like you pick this thing up because of your intuitive nudge or whatever it is. It's like you can move in this direction, but it's kind of like you're examining it to see if it's a match to what it is that you want, right? There's that kind of like, perhaps like pausing to examine what this opportunity is, to see whether or not it's a match to what it is, like a different goal that you have. Which absolutely it is. It's perhaps a shift in focus than what it is that you've been working towards. And it's coming out with this friction card, which is so interesting, because it talks about the fact that there is friction, or there's like a discomfort here that you're experiencing, Sagittarius. But that discomfort or friction is necessary for you to move forward, right? It's like you perhaps are going in a different direction, but where you are now, it's kind of like you're spinning in like your legs are spinning in place, right? It's like there's too much friction in the environment that you are in right now. And this one is almost providing a reprieve from that by providing a different sort of friction that allows you to move forward in a different direction, because friction is absolutely necessary for movement forward, right? But too much of it means that you're not going to move. Not enough of it means that you're just going to stay in place. Like, so there's that kind of dynamic where I feel like what's being given to you now in this opportunity is just enough friction for you to move forward in a certain direction. And then you have here the involution card, which has been coming up a lot as being sort of quieting that monkey mind, which is absolutely necessary for this energy, because this could cause anxiety, right? And anxiety is the monkey mind, right? The mind that tells us sort of all of the worst case scenarios that can happen. And it's like, you have to quiet that part of the mind. You have to quiet that part that stirs up anxiety, or like the what ifs, or how am I going to deal with this situation? And it's just like, have confidence and know that this situation, anything that you sort of put your focus on or energy towards, will be successful. You're going to have success in all the sort of plans and goals that you have. But it does take a little bit of work, is kind of how it's talking about. And then you have here the 8 of materials, which I love to come out the end, because this talks about like all the sort of different focuses that you may have, right? It could be as many as 8 different goals or projects, or just different aspects of your life that you are trying to juggle and balance, and all of them sort of need a certain amount of energy or focus or attention in order to be successful. And it's like, I feel like this opportunity is coming in because you may have been focusing too much on one aspect, and the other aspects have become out of balance in some way. And so now it's like having to sort of rebalance or redistribute the energy that you've been focusing on a certain task, and perhaps redistributing it to other aspects that perhaps have fallen to the wayside because you've been so focused on one project or facet or aspect of your life. Okay, Sagittarius, I'm going to end it there. I do have Moonology cards, so I'll go through those quickly. Your commitment is being tested, the first quarter moon, which is talking about the fact that you are moving towards a specific goal. There is some specific thing that you have in mind, and your commitment to that is being tested in that you are allowed to take a break from that thing. You are allowed to take a break, basically. That thing is not going to go away or be jeopardized if you take your focus off of it. You can absolutely do that. It's being tested in that, like, you don't have to do so much, Sagittarius. You can take time to sort of recharge yourself, basically. And then here you have communication is key, the new moon in Gemini. Nothing is yet set in stone, the mutable moon. Don't let your past hold you back, the south node, which is funny for me because my north node is in Sagittarius, so keep that in mind. I feel like you are moving towards sort of a north node kind of adventure or expansion process, which is why there might be anxiety, but don't let the past hold you back. And finally, don't let pride get in your way, the full moon in Leo. All right, Sagittarius, I'm ending it there. I do other videos if you're interested in watching those. Thanks so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.